What I said. No drugs, no alcohol. Have a good life. The American dream is dead. And then they said, sir, we have a vest. I said, well, should I leave my suit on and put it over the vest? But that doesn't look very good, right?
Trump just slapped 50% tariffs on Canadian steel, and guess who's really gonna pay for it? Not Canada, you are. Every can of beer, every car, every appliance is about to get more expensive because the Orange Menace got his feelings hurt by Ontario. You see, this isn't about protecting American jobs. It's about a 77-year-old man throwing a temper tantrum because Canada wouldn't play nice with their electricity. It's like watching a toddler flip the Monopoly board because you wouldn't let him buy Boardwalk. Except this toddler can crash the stock market.
I said, and they got me. I said, I want to wear it on stage. When they said I looked thinner. We are announcing the launch of Trump coins, a true symbol of American greatness.
Wait, what was that?
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Did you know that the entire North American economy is now at risk because Trump couldn't handle a Canadian electricity bill? That's right, the orange tantrum thrower is back at it, and this time he's picked a fight with our polite neighbors to the north over something so trivial it would make a kindergarten teacher roll their eyes. Here's the deal. Ontario decided to put a 25% surcharge on electricity they export to states like New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. A reasonable response might be some diplomatic calls or maybe a strongly worded letter. But Trump, he went full nuclear, announcing he'd double the planned tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum from 25% to a whopping 50%. It's like someone accidentally bumped his shopping cart and he responded by ramming their car with a bulldozer. The tantrum didn't stop there. Trump actually took to social media, threatening that unless Ontario drops its electricity surcharge, he'd impose even harsher measures on Canadian cars that would essentially shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. Because nothing says stable genius like threatening to destroy your closest ally's entire auto industry over an electricity bill.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
But wait, it gets better. Trump actually suggested Canada should become America's 51st state to avoid these tariffs. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister designate, had to actually say out loud that Canada will never be part of America in any way, shape, or form. Imagine having to clarify that your entire sovereign nation doesn't want to be absorbed by your neighbor. It's like your roommate suggesting you should legally become their child to avoid arguments about the thermostat. This is classic Trump behavior. Someone says no to him, he catastrophically overreacts, then somehow portrays himself as the victim. It's exactly like a reality show host threatening to burn down the entire set because someone criticized his tie. The craziest part? Ontario's Premier Doug Ford isn't backing down either. He's hinted at potentially cutting off electricity exports to the US entirely as a countermeasure. So now we're watching two guys with fragile egos playing chicken with people's livelihoods. As Ford and Trump play their high-stakes game of who can be the biggest tough guy, Americans might want to check their wallets. Would you believe that 41% of America's aluminum comes from those supposedly terrible Canadians?
Perform sex change operation and send him back home.
Not Jimmy anymore, it's Tamara, but I will.
I know nothing about QAnon. I know nothing about it. I know nothing about the indictment.
I know nothing about WikiLeaks.
I have no idea who these women are.
And when Trump slaps his 50% tariff on it, it's not Canada paying the bill, it's you. Talk about a plot twist even M. Night Shyamalan couldn't see coming. Here's a fun little lesson on tariffs that Trump apparently slept through in Wharton. They aren't paid by the exporting country. They're taxes that American companies pay when importing goods. So when Trump claims he's making Canada pay, he's actually making American businesses foot the bill. It's like trying to get back at your neighbor by setting your own house on fire. Great plan, genius. The stock market certainly thinks so. The S&P 500 immediately dropped 0.5% after Trump's announcement, following a 2.7% fall the day before. The Dow tumbled another 1.1%. So much winning, am I right? Nothing says economic mastermind like watching your country's financial markets nosedive because of your temper tantrum. Let's break down the absurd math. Nearly half of America's aluminum imports come from Canada. When you slap a 50% tax on that, suddenly your beer cans, car parts, and even the aluminum foil you use to wrap your leftover Trump steaks get way more expensive.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Nobody knows the system better than me.
Nobody knows the banking industry better than me. Nobody knows more about environmental impact statements. And then they said, "Sir, we have a vest." I said, "Well, should I leave my suit on and put it over the vest? But that doesn't look very good."
Congrats on your victory, Don. You've successfully made Americans pay more for basically everything. The auto industry is particularly screwed here. Parts cross the border multiple times before a car is finished. Trump's tariff is like putting a toll booth in the middle of an assembly line and then wondering why cars suddenly cost more. Even General Motors and Ford, not exactly radical leftist organizations, have warned these tariffs will drive up production costs. The truly mind-boggling part, Alcoa, a major US aluminum producer, warned that even a 25% tariff could lead to 100,000 American job losses in the aluminum sector alone. Now the tariff is double that. Yes, Trump's brilliant job-creating policy might actually destroy twice as many American jobs. Art of the deal, folks. From home appliances to canned goods, American consumers are about to get punched in the wallet at a time when they're already struggling with inflation. Nothing says, "I love the working class," like making their groceries more expensive because you got mad at Canada. This whole mess creates a domino effect that even a 5-year-old could predict. Higher material costs lead to higher production costs, which cause higher consumer prices, which result in reduced consumer spending, which ends in economic slowdown. All because Trump couldn't handle an electricity bill dispute like a grown-up.
He had no idea what he was doing. He said some very stupid things, like going in for portions and all of the things. He made a lot of bad statements, but he's grossly incompetent. What I said, no drugs, no alcohol, have a good life. The American dream is dead.
So what do we call Trump's economic master plan? America first sounds nice on a red hat, but Trump's ego first is what's actually happening. History has shown us that aggressive tariffs like these typically end up damaging the economies of the countries that start them. But who cares about economic reality when your fragile ego is at stake, right? The funny thing about this whole mess is that Americans themselves are growing concerned. Polling data shows that while some MAGA folks are cheering, many regular Americans are worried about their wallets and jobs. It's like Trump's selling tickets to a bonfire where the only thing burning is your paycheck. Look, the next time someone tries to tell you Trump is some kind of business genius, just remind them he's the guy who's risking the entire North American economy because he got mad about an electricity bill. That's not 4D chess. That's flipping the board because you're losing at checkers.